off to the next day morning. And with all the chemicals worn out, made me feel good now. I be drowning in you, so thirsty. Couldn't care less how much it hurts me. Alright, but I'ma buy it back now. Make you fall back. I keep going back to you. No more, no more, no more, no more. I keep going back to you. No more, no more. You're like a bad habit. You're like a bad habit. Back to you. No more, no more, no more, no more. I keep going back to you. No more, no more. You're like a bad habit. You're like a bad habit. All the voices in my head getting louder. They told me not to tell you, but they're itching for the powder. Got that blurry vision, seeing double. Yeah, I love you, but you're all trouble. I'd be lying if I said I didn't love it. Carved a couple holes in my heart, so fuck it. And with all the chemicals worn out, falling too far, falling too far. I keep going back to you. No more, no more, no more, no more. I keep going back to you. No more, no more.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a circuit that demands absolute precision, bravery, and just a little bit of luck. Tonight I'm your host, Sagar Bakshi, and it's green, green, green here at the Miami Autodromo Internazionale. Side by side, there goes Sean Stan, the Stanman, and the 000 as well. Papa Green made up 3 positions in 2 laps. With Leslie Simpkins now throws his elbows out at Drew. Road Atlanta is a circuit that never really gives endurance racers a chance to settle in. For season 6 of the Sausage Dodgers Endurance Tour, sponsored by Big Power Hunter on Instagram, the championship heads into the Georgia hills for a race where elevation, traffic, and outright commitment will shape every stint. The opening sector throws the cars immediately into blind crests and the rapid fire S's. Turn 7 determines the charge down the back straight, and at the other end awaits one of the hardest braking zones on the lap before the field drives beneath the ridge back towards the line. In multi-class racing, that challenge only gets bigger. Faster cars will arrive on traffic in places where patience may be worth more than raw speed. While every driver still has their own class battle to protect, Road Atlanta is going to reward commitment, but endurance racing rewards judgment. Season 6 of the Sausage Dodgers Endurance Tour, sponsored by Big Power Hunter, from Road Atlanta. Let's go racing. Welcome in, folks. Thank you very much for joining. Thank you very much for staying tuned. It's a pleasure to be here with you live from Braselton, Georgia. It's, of course, a 4-kilometer circuit that is Road Atlanta. A couple keys to the race is that the drivers are going to have to be patient through the S's, especially managing traffic through there. Making turn 7 the money corner as it feeds into the longest straight onto the circuit. They have to survive the long braking zone into the chicane because they're arriving at enormous speeds. and be strongest at the end, not just the beginning, because in first you have to finish the race or something like that. Taking a look at the qualifying run, the drivers are already installing their best lap times up until this point. For the GT3 field right now, it will be a few and far between, from Carino all the way down to Zavagan. We're going to have the top 8 within 1 second of each other. Short track here, just at 78 seconds in length. Drivers are going to be contested with the amount of speed, and the differential here is really going to be only around 10 seconds. So the 118s that we're seeing now will only be bested by the prototypes and their low weight, high downforce machines. A little bit of kitty litter kicked up there from Mathieu Ubertali as he tries to find a little bit better of a run on this final lap for the qualifying session. Can they get it done right? Coming in through turn 7, the most important corner on the track. He's running pretty well right now. We'll have to see what the qualifying ticker says. Matthew Clark running in third. Rita Uihal in the 911, running in 13th position, trying to best the 118.285. Will anybody be able to do it in the last few seconds of the qualifying session for the GT3 traffic? Pit stop calls for the GT3s, and that'll conclude the session, and we'll have to switch over to the GTPs here in a second. GTP is rolling out onto the circuit. That's going to be Dan Miller and Mark Richards right now, nose to tail. And Dan Miller, the South African in the number 23 Porsche. What is he capable of doing again? He was sitting pretty prime last time we ran, and hopefully doing so again this time around. Right on board as we come out of turn number 5. It won't be an egregious use of track limits here as the drivers push on their outlaps, but it will be the use of track limits nonetheless. Coming in through turn 6, it doesn't go all the way out to the curbing. Maybe the tires aren't quite heated up yet. Oscar Corbett is the one to improve, but it's Michael D. West, the driver to get him out with purple sector times for the number 47 Cadillac. Bobbing and weaving as drivers try to generate a little bit more heat in the tires. Miller not happy with the way his car has been operating on this lap. A little bit of wheel spin, a whole lot of wheel spin at the top of the hill at turn 11 before we come down through the turn 12 8-packs. Will be Dan Miller going to the top of the chart, but quickly thwarted by Michael D. West. Oscar Corbett and the Sausage Daughters fall into 4th, and then it'll be a few trickles in. Sengizian Ozalagu and Thomas Oliviati slot in front of Dan Miller, Oscar Corbett from the Sausage Dodgers organization, and Uncle Lloyd Butler, now part of the Sausage Dodgers team in the 369. Being chased down by, I believe that'll be West behind him. 44 will be Ozologu. Here comes Oliviati and West, the 47 and the 33, both finding times in their respective sectors. And no help from the toe either. Both cars running solo as can be on the racetrack, deep into the braking zone, and a clip of the curb there for the TRT machine. What can Oliviati produce on their run? 1:10.359, new pole position time. That'll throw down the gauntlet to Oliviati, who is now a 10th back from that new time, but would have been into the pole position. Benedetto Dovezzo going to be crossing the line next. What can they produce on their opening run? Will be good enough for P5 with a 1:12.344. Cut his cloth right now. Mauro Gabbiati completes his second lap, but not his second valid one, unfortunately. There will be no valid time there for the number 1 driver. Oliviati is best over Dan Miller by just a few thousandths of a second. 1:10.259 coming across the start finish straight, and what a wiggle there for the number 33, able to catch it though. Somehow, some way, Oliviati's still on a charge. All the GT3s are resting their heads right now. Leaves us with just the GTP field out on the racetrack with just about 9 minutes left to go on the clock. Track is fully rubbered in at this point, and it doesn't look like weather is going to be on the horizon. Beautiful, perfect conditions for this 90-minute race that we're about to deal with. And limited fuel load means that we might see a few pit stops from the field, especially with the way that traffic might turn out at the end of the day. Oh, big spin there for the TRT. That's Oliviati spun off there at the bottom of the S's before we got to turn 5, and he'll teleport back to the garage and start this all over again. But Oliviati obviously fast, but maybe not capable of being consistent. We saw that also from West. He was very fast, but can he produce the consistency here at Atlanta, especially with all the traffic? We're going to see the drivers pass the GT3 drivers at least 7 times throughout this race. And catching your opponent at turn 5 is going to be, man, one of the most challenging decisions you're going to have to make is going for it or waiting for turn 6. and the straightaway there, but I feel like the drivers might be able to make that decision on the fly based on their momentum, based on the battles they're in. The Ferrari in P2, only 23 thousandths behind Michael D. West, who's continuing to try to improve his lap times. James Piper finding P5 in the 999, beginning their new lap as they cut through turn 1. The Pizza Hut machine cutting through the S's right now, the 999. Not too shabby of a run for Piper. If they can make it stick in P5, it's not too bad of a place to start, and then you can always work your way forward based on mistakes and lap traffic coming and going. A lot of opportunities to present itself, but a couple wheels under the grass won't help the qualifying run. And a pit stop there from Ozolongo. Head back out onto the racetrack as quickly as he possibly can. And try to get these last couple laps in. Oscar Corbett continues to be a driver to keep our eye on as he comes through turn 10A and 10B. He's looking to improve through the first two sectors, but can he best a 109.947? It's looking positive for Corbett, but not through the last two sectors. It won't be a personal improvement, but it will be for the lap time. And the first two, 110.431 last time by, despite going a little bit slower through sectors 2 and 3. But the spin at the top of the hill will result in the 988 having to make a trip back to the garage. On board with the number 44 GTP as they begin to start their lap. Only get a few more attempts. Massive amounts of understeer through turn number 1. As the tires still need to clearly come up to temperature. And Ozogalo doing so by working the wheel a little bit and generating a little bit of heat in the tires by producing some lateral motion. That's the word I was looking for. Beginning the start of a first flyer through turn 1. Again, still getting a bit of understeer. Having to make a correction through the top of the hill there. At turn number 3. Down to the bottom. See if he gets that understeer again at turn 5. He does, and he's off the curbs, off the track. And that'll invalidate this first lap of his as he fights the car again to get some grip. Uzilugu. Number 44. What can they do? Now, they're back even further. Oliviati. Last time by 109.82. Michael D. West. A 10th and a quarter back. This is going to be a tight fight up at the front between Wes Oliviati, the 44, and Dan Miller. Coming down the backstretch into towards turn 6 and 7. Not seeing a major improvement just yet from the 44 with just a minute and a half left to go. Could this be the only 10th that he needs as Thomas Oliviati comes in? Final lap showdown for the 44. Cuts through turn 1. Crests the top of the hill at turn 2. Attacks turn 3. Down the hill through the S's. Gets ejected out of turn number 5. Down the short straightaway into turn 6. Got to use the inside line there in the groove to carry speed all the way out to turn 7. You don't want to get too far out and touch the grass that the kids are talking about. Avoid it at all costs if you can, but get it right. It leads into the longest straightaway on the circuit. The run down into turn 10. And he crests the hill for turn 11. Turn 12. Blind corner after 11. And Ozagalu. 109.994 at the end of the day. Not good enough for the top spot. We'll get the unofficial results from the qualifying session up in just a moment, folks. Amazing to see that we have over 30 drivers taking to the grid tonight. In the GTP category, it was Thomas Oliviati, Michael D. West, and Senegazian Zalagu, all within a 10th and a half. Then we have Dan Miller, Oscar Corbett, Nick Konstantinos, Nicolaitis, James Piper, Mark Richards, Mickelson, Gabbiati, Benedetto DeVezzo, Lloyd Butler, Simon Music, and Anthony Hetzma. In the GT3s, it's just as tight there, as a half a second separates the top 3. Then August Kuz, Vincenzo Stagnito, Diego Antonio Fiore, George Angelopoulos, Andrea Zavgin, Pavel Nemrava, Andrew Kesterton, Neil Thompson, Nick Ewers, Rita Huihal, Karel Sulhal, Paolo Minetti, Mike Capiello. For our starting grid, it's going to be none other than Oliviati and Michael D. West starting on that first row. Row number 2 belongs to Senengazian Ozolagu and Dan Miller. 3 is for Oscar Corbett and Konstantinos Nikolaitis. After that, it's going to be James Piper and Mark Richards. Following Richards, it's going to be Alexander Mikkelsen and Mauro Gabbiati. Following Gabbiati, Benedetto De Vezzo and Lloyd Butler. Following Butler, Simon Music and Anthony Hatsima. In the GT3s, Alessio Carino starts us off with Mattia Ubertali in tow, Matthew Clark and August Kuz in row 9. Row number 10, Vincenzo Stagnito and Diego Antonio Fiore. Then we have George Angelo Capoulas and Andrea Zavigan. Following that, we're going to have Pavel Nimrava and Mr. Andrew Kesserton. Following Kesserton, it's Neil Thompson and Nick Ewers in the 55. Rita Uihal and Carol Sahula in row 14. Row 15 for Paolo Minetti and Mike Capiello. Row number 16 is going to be empty for us. Welcome in, folks. If you're just joining us, welcome in to the Big Power Hunter Endurance Tour presented by Sausage Dodgers Racing. And we have Anthony Hatsima not taking to the grid, interestingly enough. We'll have to find out what happened there to the number 22 driver from Nova Motors Esports Development Team, and also Mike Capiello from Rust Revival Racing, starting from the back of the pack in the 337 Ferrari. Bobbing and weaving, trying to warm up their tires on this formation lap here. Give a big shout out and thanks to everybody watching live now or in the future. Don't forget to like, subscribe, ring the bell to get notifications for when we're live again here at Sausage Dodgers. Ready to take the green flag. And it's green, green, green. Oliviani takes off like a rocket, trying to leave Michael D. West in the dust, but it can't be done. West is around the outside at turn number 1, carrying a ton of speed, and he's all the way through the 44, trying to drag his heels through on around the outside again. Sees the writing on the wall and the vulnerability from the slower Cadillac car. Thomas Oliviani relinquishes P1 down the order. Looking down the order still, it will be the GT3s that settle their heels. Before we get down to the start-finish straight, it will be single file line, except for a few further down the order. August Kuz going for a move now, and Diego Antonio Fiore, Vincenzo Stagnito, again exchanging blows with another Italian, Mattia Ubertali, and the Absolute Motorsport Acelith machine. They're going to go wheel to wheel as well. Down the hill through the S's, figure things out. Single file line has to become the order of operations. Looking at Michael D. West and his plummet down the hill into first place. He'll go a little bit too deep at turn 10A, and in too deep, just like some 41, leaves him vulnerable to Ozolagu, who's ready to pick up the pieces and get right on through. Well, look at Dan Miller. He's trying to shake and bake, get things done. He doesn't have to think any longer. Gets the move done back on Oscar Corbett. And front goes Miller. Massive speed differential here between all of these manufacturers. Almost to the second lap as the GT3s start their second. GTPs come around turn 7 now. And maybe my prediction is absolutely incorrect. Maybe we'll see cars start to lap a bit faster than that. Here comes James Piper. What happened to Piper? Not seeing an incident from James Piper, but he'll be the first of the GTPs having to make their way through the field of GT3 drivers. And luckily enough, he's caught up to most of them coming down the back stretch. We'll run into a little bit of side-by-side battling between a few, as I think he's a little unexpected delivery right now. We may not be able to out-pizza the Hut, but the Hut can out-pizza Piper. As the pepperonis fall off of his pie, driver who started well for the category tumbles down to 12th now for his. And there's a very interesting racing line. I believe that was George Angelopoulos there. That was Angelopoulos cutting it very shallow at turn 5. Vincenzo Stagnito and Matthew Clark running nose to tail still in the battle for second and third position. And here comes Piper to come past them up. Can he get the move done cleanly at turn 1 and avoid the lead battle? He does, but a little bit of a checkup there from Stagnito forces Matthew Clark to force the issue as well, but doesn't quite bark on his heels on this occasion. Hula getting overtaken now. That is August Kuz getting through. Holy Toledo, looked like he was standing still coming through the hill. August Kuz down 6 positions from a very poor race start. Now duking out with Neil Thompson and trying to force the issue the long way around the outside at turn 6. But slots back in, looks for a switchback at 7, but forces into the single file line. I think that's the right move to make. Flashy of the headlights to try to distract the driver ahead. Okay, maybe. I don't necessarily always agree with flashy of the headlights, but on this occasion, sure, why not? Here come the GTP leaders now cutting through and giving a little bit of reprieve now to some of the GT3 battles that have been brewing. And this is where things start to get interesting, where the speed differential is a huge factor. You see how much of an issue this becomes, not only for the GT3s, as gaps that were as tight as a few tenths become separated by seconds at this point, but also for the GTPs as they negotiate the traffic, they gain and lose time in their own right. Their battles start to get a little bit fiercer and tighter. Nick Ewers in the Sausage Dodgers, number 55. Chasing down his August Coos right up the road. Ewers in the black and green, Coos in the black and yellow, black and gold. Corbett and Richards. Here we go. The championship fight lies between these two as well. And the Sausages are not going to give up that easy. Oscar Corbett manages to stave off Richards for the moment. Simon Music, however, is not a friend and will be a foe to the Sausages. Makes a mistake at turn 5. Mark Richards does. And Simon Music, again, ready to pick up the pieces. Diego Antonio Fiore. Next up on the chopping block to Matthew Clark. Here comes Clark chugging along behind in his number 14 on the 83 Racing Point car. Right now, it's a 6.5 second gap from Michael D. West to Ozologu. And the best times keep trickling in from Ozologu as well. I would say nearly 100% of that is going to be due to traffic management. But going off in the background is going to be Karel Sohula. Or Neil Thompson, excuse me, is the one that went off. And this is a beautiful little battle here between Rita Uihal and Nick Ewers. Ewers chasing down for a little bit better than the top 10 right now. Nose to tail still. And further back, Rita Karelsula, and Mattia Ubertali exchange positions. Now Ubertali is driver from Absolute Motorsport, able to go back up. Only 6 positions down, or 8 positions down in the category.
Beautiful battle brewing everywhere you look on the racetrack. It may not be exciting or that enticing right now, but wait till the GTPs cash back up to the GT3 field. Oh boy, will it get exciting all over again. Here we go, more GT3 battles. As Ubertali catches up to Ewers. Can Ewers keep up with Ubertali? Ubertali has been catching up for quite some time after a poor race start took him out of contention. Side by side through turn 10A and B. Will be Ewers able to defend through the top of the hill, turn 11. In the background, the GTP starts to pick up the pace, and Ubertali gets a little bit of a break, or Ewers gets a little bit of a break from Ubertali. Oh no, and Ewers is off. Ewers is off at the top of the hill, and so is Ubertali at the bottom of the hill. Here we go. Vincenzo Stagnito 4 seconds back from Alessio Carino. We've seen Vincenzo Stagnito, when unleashed, produce some pretty great things. 1:19.6 that last time by. Won't be the shopper laps that we expected from Stagnito, but will be a good haul of points for him in the championship should things end this way. And we're only about, I don't know, maybe 7 more minutes away from our first pit stop already in the GTP category. And I wonder what that will mean for the pit stop cycle. Tires, no tires. Roadland is a short track. Down the backstretch, Ubertali. Otis Kuz up the road now. 11 seconds now. Rita Uihal and Karel Sahula. Sandwich with Neil Thompson. Thompson to the inside line, coming through turn 1. Neil Thompson. What happened to Neil Thompson at the top of the hill comes to a screeching halt. Able to rejoin right in front of the 72 of Paolo Manetti, so not too bad there. Dan Miller and Simon Music in his number 46. Passing up the GT3 traffic now. Caution is the better part of valor. And who's going to express it here? Or are we going to go and thread the needle? Holy Toledo. What a move by Simon Music to go up the inside there. Back up ahead, Ozolagu has opened up an 11-second gap now. But here, it's not even a tenth. Oscar Corbett and Mark Richards run nose to tail down the backstretch over the crest of turn 11 through turn 12. Taking a look through the field, Neil Thompson's able to pick up the pieces from his earlier off and get back into the mix. He chases down Karel Sahula in the Grex Virtuals SRT machine. $19.0 for Alessio Carino last time by, and Vincenzo Stagnito with a 19.0 of his own. Things getting a little bit quieter on the racetrack, but not here. Between Karel Sahula and Neil Thompson, George Angelopoulos and August Kuz also exchange a little bit of blows. August, oh, hold on, hold the phone. Simon Music and Dan Miller making use of traffic, and RG Bargy elbows out racing for position right now, and they nearly run in the back of, who is that? Thomas Oliviati, Dan Miller, all going three abreast now. Through turn one, they all settle in single file line. Simon Music leads Miller, Mark Richards, Oscar Corbett, and Alexander Mickelson. We have a GT3 off. Oh no! And I think that did collect a sausage. Here's the replay of how Richards got, oh no, what a huge hit. Ooh. Big hit there, and I think that might be Mark Richards going back to the garage. Yes, he is going back to the garage, and that'll leave him down and out for now. Dan Miller, the next driver up the road, though. To separate himself from the top sausage of Oscar Corbett in the 998. Now the drivers are all settling into their rhyme and rhythm, but it will be a few on the grid that are separated by their battle packs. Alexander Mickelson, for example, is about 7 seconds away from Oscar Corbett, the next sausage dodger up the road. Neil Thompson here, still trying to chase down Karel Sahula. Down the hill through the S's is not where it's about to happen, but he's going to try his wheels off. Neil Thompson. Let's take a look at the lap times he can produce. He has been consistently quicker, and at least been able to match the lap times of Sahula, except during bits of traffic on lap 15. We all know catching is one thing, passing is a whole other ball game, so what can Neil Thompson do from here on out? Dan Miller trying to get things done right now and sees Simon Music up the road. Nick Ewers might lead to some lap traffic giveth and taketh away in the conversation, but not this time around. Miller continuing to try to hunt down for a podium. Has Music and then Oliviati 6.5 away from this battle. Might be better for Miller to sit back and wait, possibly, and work together with Music as they're both lapping in the 111s now. Coming down the hill, it's my favorite part of the racetrack. The blind crest of 11 down to turn 12. Flat out commitment and speed through the final sector. traffic giveth, lap traffic taketh away. Music and Miller. To the inside goes Miller, trying to find the daylight on Simon Music, but to no avail. Music continues to put on the blocks. Flashy, flashy of the headlights. Looks like Dan Miller wasn't pleased with the block. Oh, look at this battle. 5 cars across the stripe. Absolutely gorgeous. Miller and Music are putting on a masterclass performance. Let's not rule out Oliviati yet because he's chasing down Michael D. West up the road. Piper and Benedetto De Vezzo still duke it out for 8th and 9th in the background of this. Miller has been a top performer in this championship. He's definitely no slouch. His consistency has made him the points that he has gotten to today. Miller and Music still nose to tail as the lap times just slinky back and forth over the course of this endurance race. Coos and Angela Kapoulis. A battle for 5th and 6th starts to get a little bit spicier, and argy-bargy through turn 10A and parking it on the apex, and one of the Italians from TRT gets involved. That'll be the 33 of Thomas Oliviati there. Coos loses touch with Angela Kapoulis. And what happened to Uncle Lloyd Butler here? On the previous lap. Oh no! And it's already gone wrong for Uncle Lloyd in the 369, but he's back on track and running. Well, down in 9th position, he's back down pit lane. You see here, when Angela Kapoulis came into pit lane, it was so casualistically, came in on lap 23, excuse me. Angela Kapoulis serving a Immediate pit stop, and I wonder what the causation from that would be. No incidents to report from Angela Capulas at this time. Check in with the weather right now. Partly cloudy conditions, so don't expect it to change too much, but the track surface is dry and 32 degrees is the track temp, air temp 28 degrees. Not too shabby of a condition here in Brazelton. Pavel Nimrava in his chase down for glory as he sees Paolo Minetti right up the road in his Ford Mustang. A tiny amount as Paolo Minetti and Pavel Nimrava seem equally matched lap after lap. Lap traffic giveth, lap traffic taketh away, and opens up some of the gaps. Thomas Oliviati tumbled down the order very early on in this race, trying to conserve his tires. Slips back behind Michael D. West, but is only 3/4 of a second back currently. Oh, what's going on with Benedetto DeVizzo? He slipped by Uncle Lloyd Butler as Uncle Lloyd has another big one. Coming down the hill through the S's. Is it at turn 5 where things go awry? It is, but he's quick on the brakes to get it stopped in time. Neil Thompson here with Karel Sahula as they both run a positive gain in equal machinery. What can be done for the two lonely Mercedes in the top 10 right now? Well, there's Pavel Nimrava as well, excuse me. As I quickly presume the front engine cars weren't going to be the fastest here. There are 3 of them in the top 10 right now. The 2 Porsches, however, or the singular Porsche, or Rita Uihal, in the 911, has taken a pit stop. And right now, sitting in 15th place. Over here, Oliviati and Michael D. West need to settle down. And the 33 right on the rear wing of the Ford Mustang. Man, I think that's as close as things could possibly get. Turns out we're getting a lot longer running than I expected. Expected to see drivers come in towards the 27 to 32 minute mark, and now we're running well into the 37-minute mark. It was fuel consuming enough though for Ozologu and Simon Music, who both came down pit road in the GTP category, but no one else has yet. Just leads me to believe that if the drivers can push this another 5 minutes or so, they can go for a two-stopper. Thomas Oliviati is the driver to stay out and re-inherit the lead of the race for TRT. Oliviani does decide to come down pit road just at the last ditch moment. Now, how does this cycle the rest of the field out? Ozologu coming down the backstretch now in towards turn 10. Neil Thompson and Sahula still glued to each other's nose to tail. Oliviati still in the pits as Ozagalu comes around. A quick 33-second stationary for Ozologu versus 25 seconds for Oliviati. He's able to jump Dan Miller in the process. And Michael D. West with a 33-second stop himself. Interestingly enough, he'll lose out to fourth. So the gap did come down between Ozologu and Oliviati, but not as dramatically as one would expect with a nearly 8-second difference in the pit stop. Matthew Clark, next driver up, comes down pit road. First one for the GT3s to start to blink. Alessio Carino leads by 9 3/4 seconds in front of Vincenzo Stagnito, the simdrivers.eu pilot. Richards back into the mix behind Benedetto De Vezzo after an earlier collection with a few cars. GT3 traffic becoming a problem for the 420. But his grit will come back and pay dividends for him in the championship fight. Whoa, no. That was Uncle Lloyd Butler. And I'm sure Mark Richards had a big Code Brown moment and a bit of deja vu. So Alessio Carino is able to stay out, but Vincenzo Stagnito, Mattia Ubertali, and Paolo Minetti are all in. How is it that the leaders are on the best fuel conservation strategies? Ferrari versus the McLaren in the background. That's going to be Michael D. West trying to get involved. It will be the Ferrari to get ahead of the McLaren TRT down one. Is that? It is. It's Matthew Clark. It's a bird. It's a plane. No, look. It's the number 14 of Matthew Clark. Holy Toledo. Look at him go. And he got right on by Vincenzo Stagnito. Last lap time, a 1:19.94. Stagnito couldn't get the heat in those tires quick enough. Clark making good work in traffic. Here's a duo that hasn't really been separated over the past, I don't know, 34 laps or so. Neil Thompson and Carol Sohula. Both been glued to each other in equal machinery this entire race, and exchanging blows lap after lap. And as that, Andrew Casterton limping it around in the background. I'm not seeing a big incident for him. Let's see what happened here to Andrew Casterton. Oh no! Oh no. And that will be Alexander Mikkelsen. The 333 that got collected in that one. So Mikkelsen will go back to pit lane after coming together with the Aston Martin of Mr. Casterton. Uncle Lloyd sitting behind Benedetto Devezzo, but unfortunately, he is an entire lap down. And who is that in the background? That's Mr. Oscar Corbett going off at turn 7. He'll lose one to Mr. Simon Music, who's up 9 positions in the category. Yes, I said that right. 9 positions in the category right now. Still a good battle here between Benedetto Devezzo and Uncle Lloyd Butler, although on different laps. Let's check in with those GT3 drivers that can't get enough of each other. Big slow there from Sahula coming through turn 1. I think he's trying to open up a gap to Thompson up ahead and perhaps let him get back into his own rhythm. Getting ready to mount an attack, gets a great run out of turn 5, and here comes the GTP traffic. Slows down Thompson, the door opens for just a brief moment, but Sahula couldn't get there before it was shut. Let's look at the lap times between these two. And it's just been slinking back and forth. But look at Mickelson, shouldn't be there, but he is there on the 38th lap, unfortunately. Gap opens up between Sahula and Thompson, finally settling this one down by just a little bit. Angel Kapoulis chases down Zavagan right up the road, the 174. And this gap isn't going anywhere anytime soon. Andrew Kapoulis and Ubertali, both faster than Zavagan. Andrea's got to look out for his back now, and there's off in the background Mr. Nick Ewers. And it looks like he was caught off at turn 5. Angelo Kapoulis doing the best he can, putting down these laps. And he's faster and faster than Zavagan. Last time around proves me wrong, as the traffic giveth and taketh away. Here we go. Michael D. West cutting through like a knife. And what happened to Mr. Kesterton? As Andrew was off at the top of the hill. And Uncle Lloyd Butler involved in one. Let's check in with what happened to Mr. Kesterton here. Oh no! That's a big slide there at the top of the hill at turn 2. And a big thank you to our title sponsor, of course, Big Power Hunters, for partnering with us here at Sausage Dodgers Racing. Of course, they have the fastest convertible in the world, powered by ES Motors. Check them out at Big Power Hunter on Instagram. Don't forget to check out the 2 new series coming up here with Sausage Dodgers Racing as well. Come join us on the racetrack in just a few weeks' time. If you like what you want to see and you want to get involved in what you see, something along those lines, scan that QR code on the bottom right hand side of your screen, folks, and get inserted into the sim grid. Join us with more Sausage Dodgers Racing action every single week. Battle here is a Greek sandwich, as George Angelo Kapoulis is the meat in between a couple of Italians, as Avgan to the front and Ubertali to the back. McLaren trying to defend off Ubertali, that quickest of the trio last time by. And here's Ubertali's opportunity to get through. And it might not be an opportunity. It might be signed, sealed, and delivered, but the 96 isn't quite done with that conversation yet as they go side by side through the crest of turn 3. August Coos all over the back of Vincenzo Stagnito as well. And their separation about 3/10 on the racetrack. Coos and Stagnito, nose to tail in their battle. Let's check it out. Here comes Coos in his Ferrari, trying to make a Ferrari lockout. Get the other Italian vehicle off the manufacturer's podium. Hoping you didn't hear that, Tim. Hoping you didn't hear that. Dog's gotta do what a dog's gotta do. August Coos here behind Vincenzo Stagnito. We're a talking family here. We're full talkers. Only 30 minutes remain in this one. So how many laps are we going to get? So the GT3s are on 46, 45, excuse me. And the GTPs are on 51. So 6 laps ahead. Two-thirds of the way, so we're expected to see us go to lap 75. And we'll see another 3 laps separate the GTPs and the GT3 category. But once the earlier debate got done, Things have settled into quite a good rhythm here at Sausage Dodgers Racing, powered by Big Power Hunters. Oh no, big off there from Kuz. He loses out ground. He dips off at turn number 5 and loses ground to his battle with Vincenzo Stagnito. He'll have to do all that hard work over again. This battle hasn't separated or hasn't gone very far or very fast. Andrea Zavagan and Mattia Ubertali still separated by just about nothing. Mattia Ubertali back to where he started this event up in P6, but I believe Ubertali believes he needs to be further up the road than where he currently stands. George Angelo Capoulis will be the next driver to come down pit road, and that'll be his final stop of the evening. Oh my goodness, here we go. 3 abreast down into turn 1. Zavagan stays in front of Ubertali for just a moment. They both get in front of Lloyd Butler, who's back down the pits to serve a meatball flag. What a hectic moment there. That was Simon Music cutting through the GT3 field with absolute precision. On board with Ubertali now, where he turns back and closing on his opponent. Trying to sell the dummy and force the issue to the inside line, but Ubertali thinks better of it and backs off the throttle and lets it play out for now. Oh, a little bargy moment there with, I believe that'll be none other than our good friend Benedetto De Vezzo in the 51. And Ubertali loses out ground to Zavagan up the road. Thomas Oliviani decides to come down pit road, and this will be his final pit of the evening, if I'm not mistaken. Battles back here between Clark and Stagnito. Oh, and holy smokes. What a traffic jam at the top of the hill as Pavelman Lava is up the road. And getting caught at the S's is not where you want to be. You lose a whole bunch of lap time on that occasion. Vincenzo Stagnito was the driver in threat of getting passed by Angelo Capoulas, but no longer. He is attacking. Vincenzo Stagnito gets by Pavel Nemrava in 10th place, leaving Clark duke it out with Stagnito solo dolo. Pit stops. Looking at the pit stops here, the drivers are going to be about 10 laps short on fuel, possibly, in the GT3 category. No, that's not going to be right. We were going to go to lap 75. We would be 9 laps short. That would put them at 68. It's going to be really close if the one stopper can work out for Eliseo Carino. Holy smokes. Doing the commentator's math on a piece of cocktail napkin right now. Here's the battle for P2. And here comes Clark and Stagnito. Stagnito giving a little bit of love to Matthew Clark. I don't think Clark was too complicit with that kiss there on the braking in towards turn 10, but the pinch had to come at some point. Stagnito and Kuz. Now, as Clark escapes, 1.5 seconds. As traffic gives him some breathing room. Ubertali back over the rear wing of Zavagan. Zavagan and Ubertali wheel to wheel, and the TRT is under attack from the Acelith team. The inside line finally goes Ubertali, but it can't get it done. He's still down 4 positions on the run, but switch back to the inside at turn 11 allows him there at turn 12 to slip in front. What a move there from Mattia Ubertali. I don't know, Tim. I don't know about that. We shall see. Because just because I see some drivers coming in as early as lap 30 for their one stopper, And if we're supposed to go to lap 65 for the GT3s, I just don't see them doing it. Ferraris in the GTPs potentially able to do a one-stop. Good to know. Good to know. Because, yeah, watching Ozalagu right now, 49 seconds in the lead. Holy smokes. What a tremendous gap to be running right now. But here comes in the second place driver of Simon Music. He's gonna have to come down pit road. That means that West and Oliviati should be next. This man right here, Alessio Carino, hasn't left the top spot. Alessio Carino has led this entire race from green to checkered. Well, provisionally to the checkered flag. 25 seconds in the lead to Clark right now, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. I don't see Alessio Carino making a mistake today. He's been pitch perfect for the past hour and 16 minutes of running. Michael D. West under attack from Oliviati. As Oliviati did take that last pit stop, Michael D. West has not stopped for his second event down pit road. So this one should be signed, sealed, and delivered from Oliviati to West. West, the UK man, might put up a fight, but can't be too easy for the Italian driver. Look at the sheer difference of speed on corner exit. Oliviati is gaining so much and into the braking zone so much later on the brakes. Walks right on by Michael West, excuse me. You shout out to Paul West if you're out there, buddy. But I would have expected Michael West to decide it was time to come down pit road. If he had to make a fuel stop, you'd want to get it done sooner rather than later, I would think. battle still continues between West and Oliviani, but just separated by a little further than they'd like to be right now. 1.8 seconds the current gap. And there in the background, it's going to be James Piper in the 999. Here comes West down pit road now. I think that might be a pit stop a lap too late for Michael D. West to still end up on the podium. George Angekopoulos, the Greek driver, down in 11th position. Unfortunately, down 4 for the category this evening. That's too many good drivers, or drivers have made up positions, I should say. Road Atlanta sure has been a test of commitment and dexterity, as it's a very short track that is unforgiving with its runoff roads. So practice makes perfect here in Brazelton. Ubutali down pit road. That'll be his second pit stop, but it's obvious that there was an incident that occurred that resulted in this, and here's why Ubutali makes that second trip down the lane. Last second mistakes from some of the drivers. As darkness begins to fall on the racetrack, and the last 8 minutes are upon us. Neil Thompson comes down pit road, and I think that will be another unscheduled pit stop. Neil Thompson looks okay. As I scratch my head, we were told that we would be okay to the very end, but it doesn't look to be the case. Right now, Augustus Cruz is running about a second slower than Vincenzo Stagnito. So maybe it's looking good for Stagnito's charge to P3 tonight. And look at this Brazelton sunset in the foothills of the Blue Ridge Mountains. Pit call for Matthew Clark. Things are shaking up in the final 5 minutes. Viewers, oh, Coos making his pit call. And this might shake up the podium quite a bit. Where is Matthew Clark? A little too far back to get one done on Andrea Zavigan. Andrea Zavigan finds his way onto a sneaky podium with a one-stopper with just 2 minutes left to go. Two minutes left to go. That means this one plus one more before we wrap this baby up. Oh no! Angela Capoulas with a sick drift coming through turn 4. Stalls out the car. West has passed. What happened? What's the gap between West and Corbett? What happened? Corbett crashed. Corbett ended up crashing. Get a replay of it. Here's Corbett's crash. Behind Vincenzo Stagnito, and the spin results in the lazy pass for Simon Music. Or for Michael D. West, excuse me. On to the final lap now. Thomas Oliviani gave it everything he could. Ends up finishing on the lead lap. The only one that could do that to Sengizian Ozologu. It's going to be victory for Ozologu in the number 44 Ferrari, here for Sausage Dodgers Racing Endurance Tour, presented by Big Power Hunter. Thomas Oliviani comes home in second, Simon Music in third, Michael D. West rounds out fourth. In the GT3s, it's Alessio Carino taking the coveted win tonight in front of Vincenzo Stagnito and Matthew Clark round out our podium there. Let's take a look at the results for the race, shall we? Provisionally, of course, it was 73 laps led for Ozolalu, and then Thomas Oliviani in P2. Simon Music in third, Michael D. West in fourth, Oscar Corbin in fifth, James Piper in sixth, Mark Richards, Dan Miller, Benedetto DeVezzo, and Lloyd Butler. Alexander Mickelson, Mauro Gabbiati, Konstantinos Nikolaitis, and Anthony Hatsima. Over to the GT3 results, it's going to be Alessio Carino, who led us around the racetrack for 68 laps. And then Vincenzo Stagnito, 25 seconds back with Matthew Clark in the number 14. Andrea Zavgan, August Kuz, Paolo Manetti, Neil Thompson, Carl Sahula, George Angel Capoulas, Pavel Namrava, Nick Yours, Andrew Kesterton, Mattia Ubertali, Diego Antonio Fiore, Rito Rihal, and Mike Capiello, rounding out the 16 participants in the GT3s. Waiting for drivers to get down to the interview room, but what a race, folks. But what a race tonight, folks. I mean, an exciting one to say the least. 8 laps separated the GT3s from the GTP, so we had plenty of excitement to say the least.
And the GT3s and GTPs got through fairly cleanly, as there weren't a lot of side-by-side moments that caused a lot of drama. I see no one in for the interview, so I want to give my big shout out and thanks right now to our title sponsor, of course, Big Power Hunter, providing us with all the live coverage tonight. Thank you very much to Big Power Hunters. If you're interested in fast cars or fast anything, check out Big Power Hunter on Instagram. They're powered by ES Motors and created one of the fastest convertibles in the world. Check them out, Big Power Hunter on Instagram. They power us and we help power them. Make sure you check out and get inserted into our SDR Endurance League that is coming up, and of course the LMP3 GT4 Challenge League as well. The registrations are open for the Butcher's Block special event coming up in the next month on the 20th, so make sure you get inserted there. Signups are available on the Sausage Dodgers Sim Grid and soon to be on the Sausage Dodgers website. Coming to soon. But thank you very much, folks, for joining us. Thank you very much for staying tuned. It's been a pleasure to be your host, as always, on behalf of SDR, on behalf of AK Esports. Vince Sauger Bakshi taking you from green to checkered flag. Have a great night, and most importantly, make sure you stay safe out there. Goodbye for now.
That's my tool.